Hey FCBC fan, Pastor Mike here, and it is Tuesday night, which normally would be our TNT, Tuesday Night Transformation. But in the month of July, we're going to do something completely different. It's still going to be TNT, but it's the Tuesday Night Takeover. We're going to air previously recorded episodes of The Journey with Pastor Mike. Now, The Journey is a series of conversations I had with some amazing people where they shared their challenges along their journey, their obstacles, their hardships, their highs, their lows, and at the same time imparted some really good wisdom on all of us. And so I'm excited about this month. I'm excited about The Journey with Pastor Mike. And most of all, I'm excited that many of you will get to see it for the first time. Now, here's what I need you to do. I need you to take your phones out right now and make sure you follow Journey TV Live on Instagram and all social media platforms. Again, that's Journey TV Live. I'm looking forward to sharing these experiences with you. I hope you enjoy them. And most of all, sit back, relax, and enjoy the journey. Peace and blessings, family.
Joining us on the journey today is one of the most trusted faces in journalism. She is the award-winning co-anchor of America's top-rated morning news program, Good Morning America.
Hey, come on, give it up for RobinRoberts.
Oh my.
Get it. Get it, get it, Oh, man. Oh, let me, Oh, my goodness.
Love you. Oh my.
Well, there's a couple people that like you.
Oh yeah. Cup to tree.
Yeah.
Cup to tree.
Man, I have been so excited about this because I have, been a fan.
Thank you.
For a very long time. And I have to say, I admire you. I admire your work. And I think we see people in their success, especially someone like you who we see every morning, but it is good to see people who are not afraid to be transparent about what they go through and what they've been through. Most people here know what you shared with the world, really, in your battle. Mm-hmm. And let me say, you are a survivor.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Pastor Mike.
Yeah.
God is good. God is good.
So
God is good.
How was that experience so public? What did that mean to you?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, bless y'all. Thank you so much. I don't think I've ever looked forward to April 15th as much as I did this one. But you know what? It's humbling. Not a day has gone by since I shared my journey, my ongoing journey, that someone hasn't come up to me and said, I prayed for you. You have no idea what that feels like, to know that people of all walks of faith are lifting you up. And I tell them, and it's so true, it sustained me through a very difficult time. It sustains me. And I felt those prayers. It was my dear mama, because I did not want to, I blew a kiss before I come out. I did to my mama and my daddy. Yeah. They are cheering us on from their heavenly balcony right now. Right. They're swinging their legs right now. Look at Robin. Look at her. She hung them, y'all. She let my parents home. But I'm so grateful for my parents. And my mother was the one, when I was going through my first health battle with breast cancer in 2007. And you hear those words, you have cancer. You don't want to tell anybody. You don't want to share it. And my mama was the one who said, honey, make your mess your message. Make your mess your message. Yeah. And that morning when I'm holding Diane Sawyer's hand and I'm explaining what I'm going through, and that night I slept like a baby, because that was the first night that I had put it out there. I wasn't hiding it anymore. And I felt the prayers. I felt people were lifting me up. And I learned so much through that part of my journey. And the pain is not anything more than the sacrifices that we all make in whatever something that we're going through. And the tragedy is if you don't take the time to understand why you were put in that situation.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
I wish I had a lesson to learn. I wish he would have picked another way for me to learn that lesson.
Yeah,
but that was the way that was chosen for me.
So then you find out some years later you have a rare form of cancer. Now let me say, I share this. 2012, I was in North Carolina preaching and got sick. A few days later, I'm in the medical center. They're telling me that I have sepsis, and it's MRSA, and it's in my blood. And if anyone knows, MRSA is a bacteria that, it kills. And they told me this, and they told my wife, and they said, call the children. And when you hear doctors say to you, okay, there's nothing we can do, and if what we gave you doesn't work, it'll be a few days. And I said, for what? They said, you won't survive. And so then I survive it, right? I come through and I know it's God. Well, then 2014, it comes again. And the first thing I said to my wife in the hospital, I looked at her and I said, I am tired.
I hear you. I know that.
So when you find out now it comes back, what was your reaction?
I am tired.
Yeah.
I said the same thing because I told my family and friends after going through it the first time, if I were to have to face something again, I couldn't.
Yeah.
It just put me on my back going through the chemo and the radiation and all the medication, and I was like, I'm not going to do it. Well, 2012, 5 years, I got 5 years past my cancer, and the very medication and treatment that had saved my life had now put it in even more harm's way, had given it even more. And I remember talking, and I was so happy that my mother was still with me at the time. My father had passed away, and my mother, I got angry. I got angry at him, and Mama said, that's okay, he can take it. That's all right. It's all right.
That's right.
And I was just like, because you know this, you go through it one time and then it comes back and you look into the heavens. And when I went through breast cancer, I knew what the lesson was to get the message out, especially in our community, about early detection. So I was like, I got that. MDS, myelodysplastic syndrome, a form of leukemia, what is that? I need a bone marrow transplant? You could do that? And I thought, okay, this is a way to educate the public, and I found out that when you need a bone marrow transplant, I thought, oh, automatically, I got 3 siblings, it's gonna be automatic. And they said, no, it only happens 30% of the time to someone in your family. So 70% of the time, you need somebody off the registry. So the doctor had already checked the registry because of our ancestry. As my mama said, we got a lot of cream in our coffee. We got, we got a little this, a little white, a little this, a little that. So it made it a little hard to find somebody on the registry that had the same kind of genetic background. Thankfully, one sister was testing to be the donor. My other 2 siblings were ruled out completely, and there's one sibling that was still a possibility. And so I went to my mother because I wasn't sure if Sally Ann was going to be that match, and I knew that there wasn't anybody on the registry. And my father grew up across the way in Jersey. My mother was from Akron. They fell in love at Howard University. Were together 60 years. They could not have been, Mama was Alpha, Daddy was Q, all that.
Hold on. Your daddy was a what?
He's Q, dog. Yes, he was.
You see all this purple and gold in here.
Don't make me start stomping. I go. So they had this wonderful marriage and life together. And my father had passed, and I'm waiting to see this one sibling. And I go to my mother because I need every opportunity that I can. And I go to Mama and I said, Daddy, got any more kids out there, Mama? Just checking.
Now be a good time to find out.
Give you a pass. And she was like, oh, mercy, no, Robin, oh, mercy, no. But thankfully, my sister was that match because my doctor had told me, similar to what your doctor had said to you, that my life expectancy, if I did not have a successful bone marrow transplant, I would not be here. And so I was very grateful that my sister was a match, and then in turn that we went out and made sure that we could get as many people on the registry as possible so they could have a success story too.
Talk about, because what I've discovered is that when you are battling any kind of physical condition, right, that there's a community, there are friends, there are people who, like you said, people you don't know who are praying for you, but then there's a community of people who you know God has placed right there at the center of your storm to be there for you. Talk about that community you have.
I have just a tremendous, I mean, when people ask me the key to my success, whatever you term success to be, I say being the daughter of Lawrence and Lucy Marion Roberts, my mother and father. It wasn't about the 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic, it was the 3 D's. It was discipline, determination, and the Lord. Those are the 3 D's in our home, okay? So I had that foundation. My siblings, a very wonderful partner, Amber. We've been together 13 years now.
Yeah.
She's gone through both of those illnesses with me. And she was a real gatekeeper because I had to be isolated for a good period of time because they have to completely wipe out your immune system and then build it back. And so I couldn't have a lot of people around me. And so Amber is, by her own admission, she's a very simple woman from California, and she was having to tell Barbara Walters and Diane Sawyer, no, you can't. She was like the gatekeeper saying, you can't do this. And she was like, I got to tell all these people, no, my colleagues and friends. I just cannot tell you the number of people that I've had around me that have lifted me up, but it was the strangers. And my mom, I shouldn't say that. Mama said there are no strangers, it's people we haven't met yet.
That's right.
No one's a stranger,
right.
But just to have that, and I don't know about you, you feel that. You feel it.
I know for me, I mean, I've been here 14 years, and during the 14 years, this congregation has seen me hospitalized an enormous amount of time, sick. And I'm telling you, yes, my family, my mother, my brother, my wife, my children, but when you have a congregation like this that is understanding and supportive.
Beautiful.
And let me tell you, you and I were talking the other day, we were talking the other day and I shared with you, but they've journeyed with me through a lot of pain and confusion, only to find out, last year what God has been really doing behind the scenes. And when I shared it, I remember when I told Robin what happened, she said, what is that? She said, you don't have any antibodies, but that's God. That's all you can say is that it's God, and you can't explain. I can't explain, like my doctor said, there's no scientific reason why I'm alive. So if there's no scientific reason,
then we know why you're alive.
We know it's another reason, right?
Right.
So I remember watching you first, becoming familiar with you through ESPN. That's right.
Yeah.
And how was that? I know being in that industry as a woman had to be challenging in some ways, right?
Me too. Me too.
How was that? I mean, just coming up.
Goodness gracious. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's commonplace now when you see a woman on television doing sports. It's no big deal. Coming along when I did, you didn't see that many women, and you didn't see any women, very few, even fewer women of color doing it. You're looking at a frustrated athlete. I wanted to be a professional athlete.
Me too.
When I was growing up. You too. What was your sport?
First of all, I'm gonna tell you.
Please don't say. See what happened.
I'm gonna tell you.
Was,
no. I was real. I was a basketball player. Don't.
You balling? No way.
Don't get it twisted. I ball. I ball. No, I ball. I'm legitimately good. My problem, unlike yours, is that I was challenged by gravity.
Oh, well, that's a hard one.
That's a hard one. I couldn't overcome that one.
Yeah. But I loved. I don't know if you realize you're looking at the state junior bowling champion of Mississippi. Oh yeah, when I was 12 years old, state champion, y'all.
Bowling champ.
Bowling champ. But
that's serious.
That's serious. I really wanted to be a tennis player, but because of my height, people encouraged me to play basketball, which was fine. But I dreamed one day of being at Wimbledon, and I would come off the hot, steamy courts in Mississippi, where I grew up, basically, and I would dream of playing at Wimbledon, and I'd have a bowl of strawberries and cream, and I'd nibble on it, and I just envisioned that I was going to be there one day. But let me tell you, I didn't get there as an athlete, but when I was there at Wimbledon for the first time for ESPN, didn't have a tennis racket in my hands. I had a microphone. But I tell you what, it's like dreams do come true. You got to dream big, but focus small on those day-to-day things that'll ultimately get you there. And so because, Pastor Mike, because I was passionate about sports. And I did my homework and I did my work. I knew that I deserved those opportunities. And it was difficult because you couldn't go into the locker room.
Yeah.
The audience didn't know how to accept somebody who looked like me doing it. And I just was very disciplined and determined, and I had a lot of great colleagues and people who believed in me. Everywhere I went, I started off in a small station in Mississippi, then went to another station in Mississippi, then Nashville, Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia. In fact, ESPN tried to hire me, Pastor Mike, in 1987, 4 years out of school. They tried to hire me then. And I didn't feel that I was ready. It's as important to know your weaknesses as it is to know your strengths.
Wow.
And so when they came a-calling in 1987, I said, thank you, but no thank you. And they were like, why? And I said, because I don't want to be the answer to a trivia question. What black woman was hired in 1987 and fired in 1988? No, I wanted staying power.
Yeah.
Because you don't see a lot of people who look like yourself doing what you want to do. The margin of error is smaller, but that's okay.
That's right.
I took that as a positive and said, you know what, I'm going to be good. I'm going to be as good as I possibly can. And I remember the one and only time I told my mama and my daddy, I didn't get it because I'm a black woman. They didn't give it to me because I'm a black woman. And they were like, honey, we love you. You are a child. You're a child of God. You might not just be good enough yet. You know, don't look for that excuse. Don't look for
right.
And it was said out of love. And it was like, and so my daddy especially, he would say, daughter, just arm yourself with as much knowledge. Knowledge is power. And so I really prepared myself for that time, but it was very difficult. It was extremely difficult, but I just knew that it was something that I wanted to do, and it felt right.
But think about the level of maturity as a young woman to be able to turn down what for most people would have been a big opportunity.
I know.
Because it's being honest with yourself. And the worst thing, I think, when faced with opportunities and even obstacles, is to be delusional about who you are, right? To be able to be honest about who you are and say, listen, this is good, but I may not be ready. I mean, as I heard you say that, you start reflecting back about the times where you wonder if you could have been that honest. And then what was the downside? You know, you think about what could have been the downside, as you expressed, of jumping into a space that you were not ready for. It doesn't mean the space was not yours, because what happened? ESPN came back around.
They did. They came back around. They came back around, and I was ready, and I was there for 15 years, and I covered the Olympics, you name it. I was there, and it just taught me, because how many times, oh my goodness, you hope and you pray and you want something so much, and it doesn't come to fruition. But what I have found is that God's delays are not his denials. And that's what really helped me. And there were so many times that had he answered my prayer to get what I wanted at the time, I would have been denied something that was even better that he had in store for me.
Yeah.
So I've learned, especially in time, to trust that he will open and close as many doors as you need opened and closed.
That's it. I think, I often tell people, we have our dreams and our passions and our desires that we utter to God, to the universe, right?
Right.
And the deep thing is, though, is that what we have to be able to handle is not whether God hears. The issue is the mechanism of God's delivery, right? Because sometimes the way God delivers does not match our expectations. And there's where the challenge begins. Because what happens, we realize we didn't make the request with humility. We made the request with demands in our minds. God, I want this, but it got to be this way. I want you to move this way, but it needs to look like this. Versus being open to saying, like the old folks say, any way you bless me, Lord.
Anyway,
I'll be satisfied. And that's the key. And for me, that is critical. So I got to ask this. Now, we do this for every journey guest. We want you to give us 3 things, 3 gems, 3 jewels you've learned along your journey that you can impart upon the group here
Confucius say, what did I say? Well, first of all, I love Journey. I wrote a song with India R.E. Shortly after. I know, I just dropped that. Boop! I just dropped that.
Hold on. But hold on. Hold on.
I'm just messing.
You see how, that was smooth how you did that, though. Because you said it like it was like, I did this song.
Oh, no, but then the R-E, yeah. Yeah, you know how that is. But we talk about journey, and we talk about life is a journey. It's not a destination. There are no mistakes, just chances we've taken. Lay down your regrets because all we have is now. So that's how I look at a journey. But as far as the 3 key things, other than the 3 Ds that my parents taught me, but it goes to go together, the discipline and determination. I mean, I really have always been extremely disciplined. As my father was a Tuskegee Airman, y'all. I mean, come on.
And a Q.
Oh, and a Q. So he just taught me the importance of discipline, and that it's a positive thing. Yeah. Another thing is I have this wonderful plaque and Sade knows, in my dressing room, and it says, "This too shall pass. Now would be good." That's what it follows by. This too shall pass. Now would be good. I have to understand, and what has helped me is that everything is temporary, good and bad. Everything is temporary. And lastly, Pastor Mike, what has gotten me through some difficult times? We all talk about fear, and we alluded to it, how people see people who have done well, and they think, oh, we must not be fearful. Yes, we are, but we don't let fear keep us from our destiny. And when fear knocks, and it will knock, let faith answer the door. That's it. That's it. Cue the music. Cue the music.
Hey, give it up for Robin Roberts.
That's right.
Here's why I like the journey, because people know of you. They know you're one of the best chefs in the world.
Spirituality is your journey. Food is my journey, but I also teach a lot about eating with a spiritual compass. Break bread with a stranger. Invite someone to your home. That meal is a conversation opener to why.
Eating was at the heart of the founding of the early church, learning how to sit together, to break bread together. I tell people sometimes one of the most vulnerable moments you'll have to sit down and eat with another human being.
Yeah, the word restaurant means to restore your community. We have community that have to actually take it upon themselves and create normalcy. When I think about this moment where we are being challenged as people of color, as immigrants are being challenged, I'm like, I've seen this movie before and I'm prepared.